Yeah, this is part two to downtown Brooklyn. They muted my sound. I don't know for whatever fucking reason, but they muted my shit. So, what I was saying in that other video, that downtown Brooklyn could be a good thing for you or it could be a bad thing for you. It all depends on how you move and how fast you can move. You had to have people with you to go downtown Brooklyn. At least 10 deep. Because dudes didn't mess with you if you had multiple people with you. Because they knew that the more of you, the more they got to fight. And they ain't want to do all that. This is not at a time that dudes had guns on them and shooting. I mean, some of them dudes had guns on them, but it was very rare. You know, it was only a certain handful of people that had them. So, bust it. This is the time in 1999, and I know I mentioned in one of my videos that I was talking about a timeline when me and my exes, and I got caught cheating and all that other shit. This is around that same time. But I failed to mention in that video that I got robbed from my Sega Dreamcast, and I'm gonna explain to you how that happened. I went to downtown Brooklyn around 10 o'clock that morning. I had put my Sega Dreamcast on reserve, so when it comes out, I could cop it. What happened was they ran out of Sega Dreamcasts. I had got in contact with one of my homeboys that used to work. Well, he worked there. Not used to. He worked there. And I said, yo, son, do y'all still have Sega Dreamcasts in stock? He said, yeah, it's one more. I said, yo, can you hold that for me? He said, all right, I got you. So I got down there around 10 o'clock, 10:30. They was just opening. I'm like the first in the door. The mall was just opening as well. A lot of the stores were still closed, but Toys R Us was open. And I recall hearing Mary J. Blige's Real Love was on the radio as I was walking. I remember every fucking thing. So I copped the Sega Dreamcast. I'm trying to bounce. I'm trying to get up out of there because downtown Brooklyn, like I said in the beginning, you had to move swiftly. You had to get up out of there. If you got caught slipping down there, you got robbed. The Jack Boys was always down there. And I'm sitting up there trying to get to the corner so I could yell a black cab, because the black cabs was the only ones that stopped. Like the yellow cabs never stopped for black people. And it was Indian drivers. They had to pass a bill by the Congress stating that if they never stopped their cabs for black folks, that the U.S. Senate or government was going to take away their TLC license if they didn't stop. They claimed that they was afraid of black folks and all this other bullshit, but that's why they stopped for black people in the city now. But not all of them. They don't all stop for us. It's a handful of them that do. So I was putting my hands out for the black cab, because the black cabs, the Spanish, the Puerto Ricans own the black cab, so it's a Spanish cab service. And soon as I got to like where the Dime Bank is, it went from Dime Bank to Washington Mutual to Chase Bank as we know it today. But at the time it was called Dime. It was on the corner. And I'm like, oh shit. And I see 4 dudes hop out and they all had masks on. And I'm like, I don't know where the fuck these dudes came from, but they pulled out a gun on me and took my Dreamcast. And I'm like, oh fuck. I just spent $199 plus tax and another $59.99 for the game, for the Sonic Adventure. And I'm like, oh. So I was working at this supermarket on Belmont called People's Choice at the time. And I didn't make that much money at People's Choice. It was only like $200 a week. Because he didn't really, no, every 2 weeks. He didn't really pay us that much money in that. And the only way you made a lot of money if you had to deliver circulars. Like, it's like these flyers you put on the doors. And you had to put them shits in every door on every floor in the projects, right? And they had to go behind you and check to see if you put them in the door before you get paid. And each bundle was $20. So each bundle is like 100 flyers or 200 flyers. So in the beginning, we used to just throw them shits in the dumpster, but then they started going around looking for them shits and find them. I didn't get caught doing this shit, but a couple of other people got caught and they got fired. But that's a long story. But I was able to make the money up, and this time I went to do y'all remember Woolworth? I don't know if y'all remember Woolworth. That's eons ago. I went to Woolworth to get it, and I was able to get it on Pickens Avenue at the Woolworth on Pickens before they went out of business. And it took me about 2 or 3 weeks to get it, but I got it, and I felt more safer because I was in my hood and I was able to hop in the cab and go home. Because back then, you got caught with a big bag, dudes will rob you and take it because they want to know what's in that bag. They know that you got out of clothes, sneakers, or whatever. And I remember mentioning in one of my videos that I got robbed for my 8-ball jacket too. Yep, I got robbed for my 8-ball jacket. Yeah, I got robbed so many fucking times. I ain't gonna even hold you. One of the times I just got fed up, I was coming off the 3 train because the L train wasn't working. This was like right after 9/11. It was the 2 train that was coming to Rockaway Avenue, and it stopped. Rockaway Avenue was the last stop, so it didn't go to Junius, which was the next stop. Because all I had to do was just get off at Junius and just walk on the outside of Van Dyke to my crib, and I ain't had to worry about it because I knew everybody in that area. But on the Rockaway side, I didn't really know too many people over there. And you get caught walking through Rockaway at 11 to 12 o'clock. That's your ass, Mr. Postman. Straight up. You was getting robbed, beat up, whatever. Them hammers gonna come out. Oh, man. I just copped this chain, too. Big ass chain. That's why I said back in the day, jewelry wasn't that expensive. You could get a nice size chain for like $500. I had this nice ass chain. On one of my driver's licenses, I had the chain on. The chain was so nice and the links was like this. I ain't gonna even hold you. They was like that. The lady on the at the DMV when I went to get my license, she told me I had to tuck in my chain. But if you look on my old driver's license, you can actually see the chain around my neck. You can still see it. And when I walked in the DMV, people was looking at me crazy like, yo. Because that's when the chain was $500 and you got some nice jewelry. Compared to today, you got to spend damn near almost $100,000 to get something nice. For real, to get a nice Cuban today, you got to spend like $20,000, bro. Back then, a chain didn't cost that much. It was like $500-$600. And you got a nice chain. Another $500-$600, you get you a nice little fucking band. The bracelet or whatever. A rollie didn't even cost that much back then. If you had the money, you were about $5,000, you got a nice rollie. Even though I ain't had no $5,000, I was getting paper, but shit, not like that. But but it was crazy back then.